it was a terrifying experience for sure. And
Yeah,
he ends up, he's doing research there, and he believes he's come into contact with other members of this clan where he is.
yeah.
Wow.
And speaking of giants, here's all of the same Bigfoot, but from head to toe.
Yeah, it's massive.
Oh
Wow.
yeah,
Did he say how big it was?
Yeah, he thought it was at least 10 feet. I mean, it's
Wow,
massive,
that's a big one.
yeah, and just massive from 4.5, 5 feet from the shoulder to shoulder, and 800 to 1,000 pounds, maybe more, and it was just
Wow.
massive. Just it. I mean, can you imagine it? I don't know how heavy one of those.
Are you
hello,
there?
are you there? Hello.
I mean, how strong you would have to be able to stop one of those things going, 20 plus miles an hour.
Wow.
Wow.
But he felt its breath
Scary.
on his face. I mean, it was. And I asked him why he thought that this thing did this, and he thinks that there was a little ones like or a little one nearby. Maybe he thought maybe even saw like two, but he wasn't sure. But he definitely saw the one, and it was running up, and I guess it was afraid for its young ones, so
Wow.
it stopped him dead in his tracks.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is really
scars
amazing.
on it,
And
had a big scar on its face. Yeah, a
and
Wow.
lot of
again,
people see Sasquatches with scars on their face. That's kind of
Hmm.
common.
what I would imagine a lot of them do battle. I mean, I know the
Yeah.
Sasquatch can hold its own, but you get ganged up by several creatures. And speaking of getting ganged up on, I'm going to bring up.
Thank you,
Thanks, Shade
Shade.
Viking. Thank you, Shade brother. What I'm going to do is maybe they got in a battle with one of these guys, which we're going to roll into. And so Bill is ready to
Well, not
laugh.
only other Bigfoot too, but you think, like bear and things like that
Yeah, yeah. There's
too.
other mammals, yes, bear, sure, a
Yeah.
wolf,
Yep.
or
Yeah.
something, or something else, maybe
Yeah.
Well, and
something.
look at the scars we get on our faces from falling, and
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get them from I get them from shaving, Sybilla. I mean,
I've got a scar right here from a brown recluse.
yeah. Well, I got to tell you what, Sybilla. I
ooh,
think this. I, I got to tell you, I think this would give you a pretty nasty scar.
Oh. Oh.
You know,
well, it's interesting because this story was this encounter was a sheriff, and he's driving on this dirt road. It's North Carolina, and he's driving on this dirt road like early in the morning, slowly, and he sees in his headlights there's two individuals fighting in the road, and it's two of these things fighting in the road, and the one of them has got the advantage and has lifted up the second one up over its head, and then bangs it on the road, like bam 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 several times, and then throws it off into the ditch. And the sheriff notices there's another one in the ditch, cowering, and he thinks that it was two males possibly fighting over the female. And after it threw the male into the ditch, and he was in his police car, and he was just he was creeping closer and closer, trying to figure out. I think he at first he didn't know what was in the road, but he saw two some things standing up and fighting, and he gets getting closer, and then he realizes, oh my god, these are animals. And I just can't even imagine what's going through your mind as you're driving and your lights are hitting this thing, and then after this thing threw, like, beat this thing against the road and tossed it into the ditch. Then it looked at him, and it raised its hands and started coming for him. And so
Wow.
he of course, slammed it in reverse and got the heck out of there. Well, he was backing up and got the heck out of there. And then when he got to a place where he could turn around, he turned around. And then he drove so far, and then he said, "What am I doing? I need to go back and investigate." So after he kind of composed himself, then he went back to the area where they were, and of course they were gone. But
That's scary.
what an experience! And you know
Wow.
what? Here's the crazy thing: that creature that you saw was not that tall. Like it was 3.5, 4.5 feet tall. It was not a massive dogman like so many other people have seen. So
Wow.
what does that mean?
You know,
Does that mean there's a whole nother species of these
Right.
dog-like creatures that are smaller in stature, but obviously just as wicked?
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, I think there's many different species. Even when you talk about these dogman entities, these creatures, however you want to classify them, you hear a lot of stories about different ones, different shapes and sizes. Some that seem to be ethereal, and some that seem to be flesh and blood. But it's always chasing somebody down. I get so many stories about them chasing down a car up alongside your car. Cynthia Price, thanks for gifting off those 5 memberships, 5 new pirates. Arr. Thanks, Cynthia.
Arr.
Arr, and so yeah, we
I
get that.
actually have a question for Sybilla.
Yeah, go
So
right ahead.
I know whenever like I hear encounters, the scary ones of Bigfoot and dogmen, it takes me a few to process this, and I couldn't imagine trying to sketch them. I mean, like, what goes through your mind? Do you have to like take a minute and think about this, or I just couldn't imagine, because I know just hearing these encounters is like, wow.
The process of working with witnesses is fascinating, and I absolutely love it. I when I first get them on the phone or a Zoom call, I first want to hear them and watch them tell their story, and
Mm-hmm.
of course I take notes. And then after they've told me their story, then I start asking a bunch of questions, because I have to see it in my mind's eye, kind of to know what to draw. So I just start asking a whole bunch of questions, and I usually start with the eyes, and then move on to the other features, because I think the eyes and the face are probably the most important part. And usually when I'm working with the witness, I'll do the facial sketch first, and then after I get that right, then we'll go on to the rest of the body. But it's really like 500 questions. I mean, I sometimes feel sorry for him, because I'm having him on the phone for like an hour and a half asking him a bunch of questions, and about like what's the distance between the eyes, because when you're drawing things, the distance between those shapes, between the bottom of the eye and the bottom of the nose, and the width of the nose, and the distance from the nose to the top of the lip, and the width of the mouth, and the distance from the bottom lip to the bottom, all those dimensions, that's what creates the accuracy that I'm going for.